What the heck is the FBI doing an analysis of debates about dogma and tradition within the Catholic Church? So Judicial Watch just filed a major Freedom of Information Act lawsuit in partnership with CatholicVote, which is a community of patriotic Americans who believe that the timeless truths of the Catholic faith are good for America. It makes its mission to inspire every Catholic in America to live out the truths of our faith in public life. So it's a political group of Catholics. And CatholicVote Civic Action, along with Judicial Watch, had filed Freedom of Information Act requests of the FBI and the Justice Department related to an intelligence document that had been leaked showing that there was interest in the FBI in targeting and spying on and treating Catholics like terrorists. Completely outrageous. The document's so outrageous that when it was leaked, both the FBI and the Biden Justice Department denounced it and said it wasn't of the quality, and they didn't agree with it. But nevertheless, it was created, and it looks like, according to Jim Jordan, disseminated within the FBI in a way that should really cause grave concern for any Christian, and certainly Catholics, who feel like they're going to now be under the gun because they dare hold different cultural values on public policy matters than the leftists running the Biden administration. So we had filed this request back in February, or back in March, shortly after this document was leaked. This document, I think it was created in January of this year, and in February 2023, the document was leaked that revealed the FBI targeting, quote, of Catholics who adhere to traditional beliefs on abortion and other cultural issues. The leaked documents have been condemned by several federal and state officials, as well as clergy, including the Bishop of the Diocese of Richmond, because it came out of the Richmond office of the FBI, who called the memo a threat to religious liberty. I dare say that's a mild condemnation of it. On March 8th, Judicial Watch and CatholicVote sent 4 FOIA requests to the FBI for all emails, and other documents from the following FBI headquarters officials: the director, Chris Wray, the deputy director, the assistant director, the general counsel, and the other top staff at the FBI, about any documents detailing, based on keywords that would pick up discussions about this document. And I'm just going to read you some of the keywords to show you just how egregious the violation of the First Amendment was planned by the FBI. Catholic, Latin Mass, radical traditionalist Catholics, church militant, Southern Poverty Law Center, by the way, which is a far left-wing interest, far left extremist group that has a habit of targeting conservative organizations and calling them hate groups and getting people to investigate them, which is literally what happened here as well. Pope Francis, Vatican II, Second Vatican Council, Rosary, etc. And of course, the FBI didn't want to give us the documents. As I recall from the lawsuit, the FBI said, can we get back to you? Or they sought some clarification, and, we went back to them and we never heard from them again. So they were sitting on it. Similarly, we asked Garland's office for documents about this intelligence memo, and it's crickets from them. So here we have the Justice Department and the FBI refusing to follow federal law on records, the Freedom of Information Act. Now, these agencies are charged with enforcing the law, and right now they're violating the law, and a law that is allowing Judicial Watch and CatholicVote to ask about their potential violations of civil rights of countless Americans based on religion. Our weaponized and corrupt government agencies have demonstrated a pattern of contempt for justice and the rule of law by prioritizing partisan ideology and agendas over the protection of the American people, in particular those with whom they disagree politically, said our client CatholicVote President Brian Birch. We are demanding transparency from our government and are determined to uncover just how high up this anti-Catholic bigotry goes. Now, here's the document that was released to Uncover DC I think it was, the author was a former FBI guy, so I guess, I guess we all can guess how it was leaked to him. But it's a unclassified for official use document. FBI Richmond assesses the increasingly observed interest of racially or ethnically motivated violent extremists, RMVEs, they have acronyms for everything, in radical traditionalist Catholic ideology, RTC. So they just make up these terms. Almost certainly presents opportunities for threat mitigation through the exploration of new avenues for tripwire and source development. And they talk about these radical traditionalist Catholics as being, opposed to abortion and a radical LGBTQI. I'm not quite sure how many letters there are now, but that extremist agenda. And they're evidently a target, or at least were a target. This document supposedly has been pulled, but I suspect that it still lives on, or echoes of it live on elsewhere, which is why one of the reasons we're asking for the documents. And so when you go through this document, and I encourage you to review it, it's available on our website or through our website, they talk about this radical traditional Catholic movement, and you have the FBI analyzing Vatican II and what Vatican II did, and other Catholic debates about the Latin Mass and what some groups think about the Latin Mass within the Catholic faith versus other groups. I mean, what the heck is the FBI doing an analysis of debates about dogma and tradition within the Catholic Church? And when, this is the key language here that it bears repeating. Exploration of new avenues for tripwire and source development. That means getting parishes and members of the Catholic Church to turn each other in if they're, quote, too radical. Tripwire means something, see something, say something, right? It's quite specific here, and I'm going to go to that section where they talk about the tripwire development. Nonetheless, the current trend of RMVEs, racially or ethnically motivated violent extremists, in radical traditionalist Catholic ideology. I didn't realize that the Ku Klux Klan liked Catholics. It's just crazy. I mean, this is the FBI today. Provides new opportunities to mitigate this threat through outreach to traditional Catholic parishes and the development of sources with the placement and access to report on any of these folks seeking to use social media sites or places of worship as a facilitation platforms to promote violence. So obviously anyone who promotes violence, there's nothing lawful about that. But the way they describe what is radical and what you should be on the watch for would cover traditional Catholic teaching on areas of homosexuality, transgenderism, and the right to life, among other issues. And they're targeting specifically social media sites of Catholic organizations, and they're talking about going and talking to parishes to have them turn in members of the parish and members of the Catholic faith who are tripping their wires that the FBI is set up to try to catch these bad guys. So this is where we stand, and they don't want to turn over any documents about this. So they denounce it, but now they're hiding documents about it. How does that work? So I suspect, and this is typical of what's been going on with the Biden administration, is you get these left-wing groups, these radical extremists that want the FBI to target their political enemies, and the FBI and DOJ obliges. You saw that with the targeting by leftist school boards of parents, and they wanted the DOJ and Garland to investigate them, so they started treating parents as terrorists. They've been targeting pro-lifers since Roe's been overturned with basically dubious enforcement of laws related to protests outside abortion clinics. And they went after one guy who was found previously to have done nothing wrong and tried to try him over a scuffle he got into that involved protecting his young son from some pro-abortionist. And of course you have the January 6th craziness, where you have the Justice Department and the FBI engage in a massive effort to target those who disputed the 2020 elections. And now we have the FBI again doing the acting as a vehicle for the left in targeting traditional Catholics who oppose the Biden administration's cultural agenda and the far left's cultural agenda generally. So this is again a further indication that the FBI represents, the way it's been used in recent years, a threat to our civil liberties too often for those of us who have conservative values. And Director Wray was talking to Congress this week trying to justify his budget. I think it's $11 billion. Do you know the FBI budget annually is about $11 billion? It's more or less $11 billion. It's probably about 10 right now. They're seeking more money as always. They have 37,000 employees, which includes, I think, 13,000 FBI special agents. So 37,000 people working at the FBI. I mean, that's the equivalent of a small army. I think I talked about this on, yes, I did go on Fox News earlier this week. Let's run a clip of that. We just sued with Catholic Vote today, or yesterday, I think it was today or yesterday, for records about the FBI's targeting of traditional Catholics, wanting to spy on churches and parishes.
Yeah.
The idea that the FBI can be trusted in light of all these abuses, he's asking for $11 billion to get 37,000 people working at the FBI, 13,000 special agents. That's the size of many countries' armies.
And I just wanted you to expound on that. I've got about 30 seconds for you, Tom, but we're talking about Catholics, traditional Catholics, and the memo the FBI leaked that literally is categorizing them as racist, white supremacist, and violent people. Where do we stand? What's the recourse on this, Tom?
Well, they pulled the memo after it was leaked, but we're asking for the documents. Well, what was behind this? Who was authorizing this? How was it handled? Is there other type of investigations like this that's happening? And they've been giving us the runaround. Merrick Garland's office has been giving us the runaround, and Wray has been giving us the runaround. And now we're in federal court over it. I don't know about you, but I think the FBI is too big, too powerful, and needs to be significantly curtailed in its powers and redirected in the least to focus on protecting the American people from the sorts of crimes we expect the FBI to investigate: bank robbing, kidnapping, transnational terrorism, Hunter Biden, that sort of thing, rather than targeting people going to church. So you shouldn't have to worry about going to church and having an FBI sitting next to you who's being run by the FBI as a source against you. It's just outrageous. So we'll find out what we can find out through this FOIA lawsuit. I suspect we'll get the documents in a few months, but we just can't rely on the FBI to say, oh, we should have done this, trust us, we're going to stop. No, 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 no. That's not the way it works. So we're proud to be able to do this work with Catholic Vote, and I'll keep you updated. So stay tuned for future updates and future weekly updates from Judicial Watch. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.